G'day everyone, the Global Surveyor, and today I'm heading out to a place called Leetsvale, which is close to Wiseman's Ferry. You can just see I'm pulling into Wiseman's Ferry now and about to cross over the Webbs Creek ferry. Just cruising through past the police station there, and just down here on the right hand side is a ferry across to St Albans Road, Webbs Creek ferry. And today's survey again is at Leetsvale, and I'll be marking a right of way running from a property on one side of the road through another property so they can access the river, so stay tuned. If I said Bicentennial, it's actually Bicentenary Road. And a lot of these roads out here are not too bad to drive along, but there's no bitumen. And we're just pulling into Chaseling Road now, which is where today's survey is. Chaseling Road is a dead-end road, and although being close to the river, getting in here is quite an exercise, as you've just seen. Amazing rocks here cutting through the mountainside. But if there was a bushfire, the only way out, really, if you don't leave early, is via the river, because it's a dead-end road. So if you do plan to come up this way, just make sure that you keep an eye on the weather conditions, because although today's not a fire day, I wouldn't want to be stuck here. It's a long way from anywhere, and you're completely surrounded by bush on all sides and mountains. Okay everyone, so we've arrived at site and just spoke with the owner. He's shown me a few survey marks, pegs that were placed by another surveyor. I've just come through here and tied some red and white tape. As you can see on the star pickets, there's a couple further down here, so you can see this is an old peg, and it would basically, what's happening is we've got a boundary line running here, a boundary line running that way, and one down towards the river. My job is down this way on the river, which we're going to get to soon. I've found another peg, a more recent survey peg here, and if you happen to be a surveyor watching this and you've undertaken a survey at Leetsvale and you can recognise this area, give me a hoy, let me know. So we've got the pegs, 2 pegs, and finally a rock mark that I found just here on the edge, and you can see here the topography. I've got the rock shelf here. It's quite flat here, but then it actually dips down, which means that standard survey practice is that you place a mark where the topography changes, even if it's not at the corner. It's a line mark. We put a mark in a rock online, and this is what we've got. It's a bit hard to see, so I'm just going to put my finger here, but we've got, it's in the shadow. Of course it'd be right in the shadow where the star picket is, so can't really move it, but we have a drill hole, you might be able to see the white paint there, and 2 wings. Drill hole and 2 wings on line only, where the topography changes. So line mark, rock mark. And so I've got these 3 marks. I don't actually know which corners they are at this stage, so I'm going to have to go down to Chaseling Road to find a few survey marks, but I have measured them now with my GPS, and we'll be able to make sense of them once I've done a few calculations. Just exiting the property now, and I'm driving further down Chaseling Road to a point where the boundaries, the line of those pegs that I just showed you, where the boundary ends and joins Chaseling Road, and hopefully there's a state survey mark down here that was placed some time ago, and I'm hoping that we'll find it. And of course every job isn't without its challenges. I've got to the bottom of the road here, hopped out of my car and trying to look for a survey mark, and there's bits of star pickets and various things here that's very, very confusing as to what's what. There's supposed to be a state survey mark around here too, but unfortunately, using the marks that I've got up the top, I can't really use them to stake out where I am just yet, because I'm not 100% sure where I am. But keep going. Let's see, surveying is a physically challenging exercise as well, climbing up and down these rocks. Not really sure the significance of this barbed wire here. Could be on the boundary line. I might just have to make a reading here and see what I can find. So at this point in time, despite finding the marks up on top of the hill here, and you can see I've just climbed up the top here. My car's way down the bottom there, probably 50 metres away up down the bottom of the hill. I'm still a little bit lost. It's very hard to find survey marks. So what I've done is I've opened up the New South Wales Survey Mark app, which shows a whole bunch of survey marks, and I've actually got the cadaster on the back, the boundaries here, and this little blue dot here, I'll try and lift it up if you can see, shows roughly where I am, and I'm actually quite a way off. I'm inside a block, but I'm quite a way off the boundary line, suggesting that the boundary line's over this way. So that's a good start. I'm going to use that as a guide. I'm not really sure how far it is, but I'll keep the app open. And I'm at the top, again, at a bit of a top of a rocky shelf here, so there should be a line mark of sorts where the change in topography is, you know, right on the edge of this cliff, because when you're putting in line marks, you want to make sure that they're sort of indivisible from the next one. I'll just open this up again. We're getting closer, almost suggesting it's not too far there. And got to make sure that when you're walking around here, you just take it easy. Don't rush, because if you fall off a cliff, you'll know all about it. I'm getting close now. So when I'm here, what would I be looking for? Well, maybe a mark on a rock to start with, maybe a line of rocks being a lock spit, which helps delineate the boundary line. All remains of fence posts. At this stage I can't see anything. Oh, I can now. There you go. I don't know if you can see, just up there on the hill I've got my red and white tape. So that's helping me with the boundary line. I'm going to walk down through here, see what I can find. Now the plot on this map is surprisingly good. The blue dot is saying that I'm right on the boundary line, and that's where the red and white tape is from up the top of the hill there. The reason I didn't walk down that way is because I needed to bring my car down to the bottom of the road. So when I got to the bottom of the road, I didn't really know where to look. But now I'm back on the boundary, which is good. And I'm following this map. And we'll just see how we go. See if I can locate any marks on my way down. When you are doing boundary surveys, a lot of times people try to deviate off the boundary line when they're doing the measuring, but really the best thing to do is to walk along the boundary because that's where you're going to find the survey marks. Now this cadaster that's plotted on this map is not 100% accurate. It's close, but so far it's proving to be pretty good. I'm just going to come down here a bit further, and according to the old map that I've got, there was a rock mark down here. Looks like there's been a bit of excavation and various things. So somewhere here roughly should be a rock mark. I'll have a look. Okay, I'm just going to put this GPS carefully down. Now, when you are walking around the bush, as I said before, what are the signs of finding a boundary corner? Well, obviously looking for a mark on a rock if you can physically see it, or a peg or a stake or a star picket or some ribbon and a tree. But the old, original and still accepted method for marking a boundary is once you've got the boundary in, find some rocks and make a lock spit. And look what we've got here. We've got this lock spit running down here. It's going this way, and you can just see here the rocks running up the road here, up the hill here. So the boundary line is sort of coming through here and out this way. And if I look down here, look what I've got. And this is the thing, this is why I really love surveying. We have a rock mark here. You can see someone's found it before, kind of recently. It's a shame that they didn't put some ribbon on the tree. But here we go, look, we've got a wing. There's a drill hole, which I'm doing now. There's a third wing heading in the direction of the boundary. So, I'm away, thankfully. So now I'm going to measure this drill hole and 3 wings and compare that distance to the marks that I measured up the hill, and hopefully I'll be able to get on azimuth and start finding more survey marks. That's exciting. Okay, and so I'll just record this now with the Leica GS18, and hopefully we'll be able to get started. So after I've finished measuring this mark, I'm just going to put some rocks back over the top of it, sort of disguise it a little bit. And I will tie some red and white tape here, just to help the next person find it. If you happen to be watching this video and you happen to be down on in Leetsvale on Chaseling Road towards the river, come and check out this mark. Oh, the challenging things surveyors have to do, eh? So I'm just back at the car and I'm going to do some calculations. Going to compare the distances I've measured from the rock mark to the peg up the top of the hill and compare that with what I've got plotted on my plans, and hopefully we make sense of it. So if you come this far, thanks so much for watching. Please like the video and please subscribe. Your support to the channel would be greatly appreciated if you haven't subscribed already, and make sure that you check out not only the YouTube channel or the TikTok channel, depending on which one you're watching it on, and please show some love on either one as well. That would be greatly appreciated. Okay, so doing some calculations, and the rock mark shown on an old plan here says drill hole and wings found. I've got that corner number 43. Going to an older survey here, that's where number 43 is. And I've discovered that the two pegs I found are going to be 66 and 67. And the distance between this mark here, 1003, and 67 by the original survey is 194.535 metres. Well, I've actually measured it as 194.688 metres. So it's about 150 mils longer now than it used to be. For me at the moment, that's no issue. I'm going to adopt the mark, the old original mark that I found here, the rock mark, and use that peg up the hill as my line mark. That will get me on this bearing, and that will enable me now to stake out some further marks. Actually, I decided to throw that third mark in, the two pegs that I've got up the top here in the rock mark, just to see what sort of result I got and to help me find extra marks. And you can see the results of the localization. It's not too bad. 2 mils, 15 mils, 19 mils. So that's pretty good. That's a good start. That will enable me to get some sort of accuracy here, and hopefully I can find a few more marks. Okay, so I've done the calculations, and now I'm going to look for a state survey mark that was placed here in the 1990s, I think. And so far things are looking pretty good. Should be a mark in a rock. That would be the only place to put it. Just get this tilt compensation going. Always good to have tilt compensation on if you're going to use, if you've got tilt compensation off, these arrows aren't going to work, and especially if you're walking with the pole not vertical. You've got to make sure that the lights here on the GPS are aligned and facing you with the controller. So what it's saying now is 8.5 metres this way, 6 metres in here. How about we go around this way? Might be a bit easier. The client said that he thought that this neighbour here was doing a bit of excavation and probably the mark got knocked out. Well, doesn't look too bad. 2.4 metres. One and a half metres. So Should be somewhere here. Oh, that's a bit odd. Doesn't look like there's been any excavation, so to speak. Can't feel any rock. Well, there might be. Hard to know. Have to get my spade out and have a look. Well, it baffles me as to why a state survey mark would be just here. This is where I've been looking, and I can't find anything. There's plenty of rock around, unless the mark's been incorrectly referenced, which is sometimes the case. Sometimes the state survey mark is just a single connection on the plan. It's not referenced to anything else, so I can't really verify, but I can't see it here, and there's not much solid rock. Here would be probably not a bad spot close to the road, but there's nothing here, and I don't think there's anything else, any decent rock up here that you'd place a survey mark on. So for the time being, I think I'm going to have to give this state survey mark a bit of a miss and see what else I can find. Okay, so surveyors, you've got to embrace a never give up attitude, and you've got to find as many survey marks as you can where practical to sort of accurately place the marks that you need to place. And so I've had to walk further down the road. I've come across this fence post here, and I've decided to stake out point number 46, which is a rock mark, 1.96 metres. So I'll have a look here, see what we can find. 180 mils. That looks promising. What we got here? Ah, yes. Rock mark. There's a wing here. Oh, bother. Haven't got any paint on me, so there's a wing here, a rock mark, drill hole there, and another thing there. I think this is quite an old one, placed when the original survey through Leetsvale, through Chaseling Road was undertaken. So that's pretty exciting. Drill hole, 2 wings in rock. I'll give it a measure now when I stake it out based on my localisation. The results are 20 mils by 90 mils. Well, that, considering we didn't measure exactly the same up the hill, that's a pretty good start. I'll measure that now. Okay, so tie a bit of red and white tape on there, and now I'm going to go back home to the home screen, the controller, back to the localisation program, and I'm going to modify the existing one. In modify existing, press OK, and my reference number here, which is what I've got, so I'll choose the file. Okay, now I've already got 3 points. I'm going to add a new one, and the point number here, just double check again. Here's my plan. Here's the old plan here. Point number 46, drill hole and wing. So I'll add that to the file. Position only, we're not after heights. And recalculate. Now the accuracy is still not too bad, you know, it's 15 mils by 20 mils, so that's pretty good. I'm going to press OK, store that. The residual is still again 19 mils by 32 mils, so that is good enough for me to, well, what I'm doing is the more marks I find, the tighter the localisation is, and therefore I can hopefully drop onto more marks quite quickly. So I'll store that, ready to stake out the next point, which, have a look, So what you do is you print out these plans, or what I do is I print out a copy of all these subdivision plans, draw them up in the computer, and every corner gets a point number, which is loaded into the controller here. So we're at 46. There was a peg here. Might just go a little bit. Well, there's one just across the road here. Drill hole and wing. And there's another one down here. So we'll see what we can find. Okay. Mistake point number 58. It's about 24 metres away. And could be quite close to this cliff. So there's a fence here, which is a positive start. I don't really want to be going off the edge of a cliff. It's looking a little bit dicey. It's down there. You've got to be careful when you come to places like this that you don't take the stupid way down, so to speak. Look for a way that's safe. See, I'm walking back up the road a bit just to navigate my way, and it's a bit awkward when you're carrying the pole and the spade in the other hand. I've got the spade just in case I need to dig a hole and look for a survey mark. There's a spider webs and prickly leaves. Someone may have been here. 3 metres. Well, this one here is saying it's 2 metres off the edge there. I don't know whether I'll worry about that one because it's on the edge of a cliff. I don't know if I can see it. But, there are plenty more marks to find, but this one's on the edge of a cliff and there's fencing and barbed wire and quite dangerous, so I'll give this one a miss. And so the easiest thing is to walk down the road, obviously. No traffic here, so you can walk in the middle. But from what I can see up the top of this rock here is remnants of fencing, and I'm a little bit worried that this mark is going to be up there, which is going to be an absolute pain to get to. Again, it's either off the edge of a cliff or on top of a cliff. I can see a fence up there, and it's saying it's 10 metres up there. Gee, is there anything further down the hill worth getting? We have another one, another 64 metres. That's looking more promising. I'll give that a go. Another 56. For the purpose of the survey, I don't think finding that mark was absolutely necessary, but as you know, I love finding survey marks. The worst thing is now, I've got to walk back up this steep hill. So, see you shortly. I think this will be the last mark I look for. I've just come down this really steep hill here, and I found a whole bunch of rocks delineating a rock spit at a corner, or lock spit, and I'm pretty certain I found the remains of a peg. And it's going to be hard to explain, but I've got to be really careful here. But we've got a solid piece of timber here, remains of a peg there. Finding survey marks is a little bit like archaeology, so you've got to carefully move the soil away. But here's the remains of the peg, and this bit here is quite firm, so I'm not going to touch that. But we're just sitting under this rock. So I'll give that a read and see how things look. I think that might end today's video. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for getting this far. You can see how challenging surveying is, and it's quite exciting when you find these marks that were placed, you know, in the 1800s or not so long ago, and no one would ever know it's here unless you're a surveyor with a plan and with a bit of brains and a GPS or other means, and have a good crack. So thanks so much for watching, everyone, and see you on the next video.